Hi, it's Danielle from the blog warmwithtime.com, where I help you design a home full of vintage charm. And in today's video, I'll be sharing how I transformed this vintage highboy dresser from this to this. In this transformation today, I'll be using none other than milk paint to achieve this perfectly chippy look, as well as sealing my piece with black oil wax to give it a rich color. So if you're interested in seeing this transformation, just keep on watching. So I picked this vintage highboy up from Facebook Marketplace and I paid $50 for this piece. I originally purchased it to go in one of the rooms in our house, but once we put it inside the house, it just looked too big. The scale was off. So I decided to go ahead and flip it instead. So the first step in any good furniture makeover is to go ahead and clean the piece. So I just used regular Dawn dish soap in a bucket of clean water and used a sponge to wipe everything down. Dawn helps remove all the grease and grime. So once I had the piece all wiped down with soapy water, then I got a clean water bucket and just wiped it all down to remove all that soap residue from the piece. Okay, so next I needed to repair some of the veneer chips that I had on the front of the dresser, and my go-to product, hands down, every single time I need to repair a hole or gouge, is all-purpose Bondo. So to use this product, all you have to do is take a little bit out of the container and then add a dollop or two of the cream hardener. And then after stirring that together, then you go ahead and apply it to any gouge or hole that you want to fill. And what's awesome about Bondo is that it dries completely hard and is sandable within 15 minutes. So you can go on and move to your next step really quickly. So now it's finally time to go ahead and get started with painting. For this project, I'll be using Sweet Pickens milk paint in the color navy blues. To mix milk paint, I'm using a 1-to-1 ratio of milk paint powder to water. And I'm using about a half a cup here, and that was enough to do an entire coat on the dresser. If you are brand new to using milk paint, I definitely suggest you check out my how to use milk paint on furniture video. In that video, I go over all my tips and tricks on using milk paint with success, especially if you are brand new to it. You can find the link to that video in the description box. I am using a synthetic brush by Zebra to brush on my first coat of milk paint, and by using this synthetic bristle brush, I'm able to get a very streak-free finish with virtually no brush strokes. I really love this color, navy blues. It's really pretty. When it first goes on, it almost looks black, but after it's dried down, it lightens up quite a bit. So after I waited a couple hours for that first coat of milk paint to dry, then I went ahead and added a second coat. And after the second coat was applied, I could pretty much tell I was only going to need 2 coats with this particular color, which is always great. The second coat is always my favorite because that after the second coat dries, you can see if your piece is going to chip or not. And luckily we did get a little bit of chipping. So the next step after you apply your paint is to go ahead and just sand everything smooth. I'm using a 220 grit sandpaper here to just lightly buff the surface, and then I can knock off any of those loose chips, as well as lightly distress some of the areas where I want the wood grain to show through. To seal my piece, I decided to use Sweet Pickens Oil Wax in the color black, because I really wanted that almost black color but with a hint of navy. And with this black oil wax, I definitely achieved it. I love the way the color ended up. So to apply oil wax, I'm just using a chip brush, something that I can dispose of afterwards, because oil wax is pretty difficult to remove from your brushes unless you use a mineral spirit. And I use the chip brush to basically apply a thin liberal coat around the entire piece. One thing that's really great about oil wax over other waxes like a paste wax is that an oil wax does not need to be reapplied every 6 months, because honestly, who has time for that? Not me. And it's also like really easy to apply. You don't need to worry about brush strokes or streaks in the finish when you're applying oil wax. And then after you've let the oil wax sit on the piece for about 5 to 15 minutes, it's time to go ahead and buff it out. I'm just using a shop rag that I have laying around, something that I don't care about getting stains on, and I'm wiping all the excess oil wax. I love how oil wax gives this almost velvety look to the piece after it's been buffed out. Really pretty. So because my piece did not come with knobs, I had to order some from Etsy, and they weren't in yet by the time I actually painted this dresser, so I went ahead and painted them after the fact. So I went ahead and stained the knobs before I painted them, just to make sure that if the milk paint did chip there, it wouldn't show raw wood beneath. So I just quickly used some stain that we had on hand. This is a Minwax stain, and stained them, and then I painted them with the same color. I just used this cardboard box to prop up the knobs so that they would not get smudges while I was painting. And here is the finished piece. Thanks for watching today's video. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing this transformation. I loved that this dresser got the perfect amount of chippy. Let me know in the comments, do you also like the chippy look? If so, be sure to subscribe, because this channel is the one for you. And make sure you check out the rest of my vintage furniture makeover playlist. I will link that in the description below. Until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.